The question read as, in which of the following provisions of the for the protection and improvement of environment, okay, and safeguarding of forest and wildlife are found in the Constitution of India? So which of the following provisions are for the protection and improvement of environment and safeguarding of forest and wildlife are found in Constitution of India? So four options have been given to you and you have to select the correct response out of A, or I can say the correct response out of, okay, the correct response out of 1, 2, 3 and 4. Very simple and easy question. Okay. So now if I talk about only in the directive principles of state policy, I know that yes, there are certain provisions, okay, that are in the directive principles of state policy for the protection of environment and wildlife. I know that. But is that only term correct? So these things, okay, you have to notice these kind of things only. Is it justified? I know that they are part of directive principles of state policy. Something is wrong. So they are not just in only in the directive principles of state policy, okay? Then only in the fundamental duties. Option B reads that only in fundamental duties. Yes, definitely in fundamental duties we have 11 duties, okay? 11 duties are there. So also the safeguarding of the environment is also part of the fundamental duties, but only is not right, okay? So or option number 1, right? Option number 1 is wrong. Option number 2 is wrong. Absolutely wrong. Okay. So please look for your answer for these kind of hints in your statements, these terms as only. These are the way to, come to the correct response. Third option says both A and B, and D says none of the above. Okay, firstly and foremost, and the important thing, that where in the directive principles of state policy has the Indian Constitution talked about safeguarding the environment? In article number 48A. So I am for sure that it is part of directive principles of state policy. Okay, very, very important. Then in fundamental duties, seventh duty, okay, that is to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, and wildlife, and have compassion for the living creatures. Okay, and also in Article 51. Over here also that it's the duty of every citizen of India, right? So it's very clear now that it's part of fundamental duties, it's part of the directive principles of state policy. Okay, now I know that directive principles of state policy, fundamental duties, both of them contain the provisions for the protection and the improvement of environment. So the correct answer is third option, and none of the above is not. So what is my correct response? It is answer number 3. Okay, so the thing is that the question is easy, but don't get confused over here in only. Okay, so this is something wrong. Now let us move to the next question. Now we are on seventh question. So with reference to the PMO, Prime Minister Office, which one of the statements is or are correct? You don't know that whether one statement is right, whether two statements are right. Therefore, our option is given over here. So two, what is it? So PMO came into existence in 1977. And the second point read as, it is headed by the cabinet secretary. So which of the following is correct? Okay. So PMO, what is PMO? PMO was originally called as Prime Minister Secretariat. Okay. And it was renamed, okay, renamed as PMO when? In 1977, okay, during the Moraji Desai ministry. Very important. And it is headed by the principal secretary. Okay, and it is a staffing agency. What is PMO? It is a staffing agency meant for providing secretarial assistance and crucial advice to the prime minister. So this point, okay, that it came into existence, okay, so it is correct that it came into existence in 1977. Very, very important. It is headed by the cabinet secretary. No, it is headed by the principal secretary. Don't forget it. Okay, it is headed by the principal secretary and not cabinet secretary. Okay, so you know that the correct option out of the following is only one. So only one is the right option and the other options are wrong. So the PMO, it enjoyed the status of a department of the Government of India under the Allocation of Business Rules of 1961, and it has no attached and subordinate office under it. Very, very important. Okay, so the correct response is only one, that it came into existence in 1977. Now let's move to the next question. Okay. Now we are on question number 8. What is this question number 8? It reads as, which of the following statement is or are correct? That means more than one can be also be correct. About the recommendation of Dinesh Goswami committee. Very, very important. What is this Dinesh Goswami committee? We'll just do it in a while, right? Firstly, army and paramilitary personnel, diplomats and other places outside India should be allowed proxy voting. It is, I think it's generally a topic that is quite a very, very much in news. Yes, it's a current topic, right? The committee recommended that state assistance should be given both in kind as well as in cash. Very important. Electronic voting machine should be used to put an end to manipulating and tampering. Okay, so the options that are given to you, 1 and 2 only, 2 and 3 only, 1 and 3 only, and the last option is 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so out of the following, which one of them is correct? Okay, so it is important, to remember the names of the committees. So this, in this particular question, it is talking about Dinesh Goswami committee. Okay, so very, very important. What is this Dinesh Goswami committee? So army and paramilitary personnel, diplomats, right, and others placed outside India should be allowed to proxy voting. So is this option correct? Is this response absolutely correct? Okay, so we have to get to know from three options are given. This is a question is of moderate difficulty level. So firstly, the Dinesh Goswami committee, it came up in year 1990. Very, very important. Okay, so Dinesh Goswami, he headed a committee on electoral reforms. Okay, and many recommendations were part of it. So it said that the ordering of repoll or countermanding should not only be on the report of the returning officer, but also to give the election commission the requisite powers. Okay, that to appoint investigation agencies, prosecuting agency, and the constitution of special court. Okay, other recommendations were such as changes in the voting pattern and shift to proportional representation of the list system. Okay, and no candidate should be allowed to contest an election from more than two constituencies. And it also talked about the age of candidates for assembly seats should be reduced to 21, and for the council that is currently to 25. Okay, so out of the following, the only correct response is third. So 1 and 3, that the first recommendation that was given by the committee was that army and paramilitary persons, diplomats and other that are placed outside India should be allowed for proxy voting. And third is correct, that electronic voting machines should be used to put an end to manipulating and tampering. Okay, so the second option, that the committee recommended the state assistant that should be given both in kind as well as in cash, is wrong. Okay, so it is a very general statement also. Okay, if you use your common sense also, so do you think that the committee would recommend that the state assistance should be given both in kind as well as in cash? So we can say over here and easily we can come to the conclusion that the correct answer is part 3. Okay, so the option 3 is absolutely right in nature. Okay, so now let us move to the next question. Now we are on question number 9. Okay, very important and easy to understand question is this one. Question read as, which of the following statement is or are correct regarding the office of Vice President of India? So three statements are given to you. First is, Vice President shall be ex officio chairman of the Council of States. Second, electoral college for the election of Vice President of India consists of members of both the houses of parliament. Third, he shall be member of any house of the parliament. So which of the following is correct? So firstly, Vice President is actually the chairman of the Council of States, that is Rajya Sabha. Okay. So the first statement is absolutely correct. So if first is correct, I am eliminating option number 2 because first option is not part of it. So I am left with three options now. Okay. And so the vice president shall be elected by an electoral college through a system of proportional representation. Okay. And that too by means of single transfer transferable vote, and the voting is actually done by a secret ballot. So the electoral college consists of members of both the houses of parliament. Okay, so the second statement is actually absolutely right in nature. Now I know that 1 and 2 are correct, so therefore I am eliminating option number 3. Now I am left with two options. Okay, so the vice president, it's in the constitution written that shall not be a member of any house of the parliament. So hence statement number 3 is not correct. So the vice president is not actually member of any house of the parliament. Okay, and he continues to hold his office until his successor comes. Very, very important. So there's an easy question to handle, easy question to tackle. So what is my correct response? My correct response is option number 1. That is both statement 1 and 2 are correct. Okay, so we are talking about Vice President of India. He is the chairman of the Council of States, and electoral college for the student election of the Vice President of India. It actually consists of members of both the houses of parliament, that is Lok Sabha plus Rajya Sabha. Okay, now let's move to the next. Okay, so now we are moving to the next question, that is question number 10. So which of the followings are correctly matched? Okay, again a very simple and easy question. Okay, it can be handled very, very easily. So part of the questions, part 9b, part 14a and part 20 are given to you, and three options. So part 9b, is part 9b related to municipalities? One thing over here. Then part 14a, is it related to, they have talked about, is it related to the tribunals or not? Then it talks about part 20. So is it related to amendment of the constitution? Okay. So firstly, the part 9b does not relate to municipalities. Rather, it is related to cooperative societies and not municipalities. So my first option is absolutely wrong. So wherever I can find one, I'm eliminating those options because they are absolutely wrong. Part 14a, yes, it is related to tribunals. So 2 is correct. All of the above I can also eliminate. I am left with this particular option. Okay, so I can get the answer that yes, that the correct response would be option number 3, that is 2 and 3 only. Okay, so the part 14a relates to the tribunals and part 20 is related to the amendment of the constitution, that is it talks about article number 368. Part 14a talks about the tribunals that are mentioned in Article 323A to 323B. Cooperative societies, it is part of Article 9B and 9A. Okay, so the municipalities are actually part of Article number 9. Sorry, they are part of Article 9A and the article number are from 243P to 243ZG. Okay, very simple and an easy question to handle. So from this question, I can get my answer that my correct response for this particular question is option number C. Okay, so don't get confused over here when you're doing and attempting such kind of questions in haste and hurry. What students do is they confuse part 9A and they will easily confuse part 9B. So think before you are doing it. So 9A, part 9A is related to municipalities. Okay, part 9B is related to the cooperative societies. Then tribunals are part of 14A. Okay, and the amendment of the constitution. We talk about amendment of the constitution at article number 368. Okay, and this article number 368 is part of part 20. Very, very important. So the correct answer is 2 and 3 only. Okay, so thank you. We just covered some of the questions that are important from the perspective of UPSC examination.